Welcome back to CBS Mornings. A political newcomer made history in the governor's race in Maryland. His name is Wes Moore. He's a Democrat. He scored a decisive win over Republican Dan Cox. His victory speech was about maintaining hope in the face of cynicism. He campaigned on issues like creating equal opportunity and ending child poverty. Now, Wes Moore will become Maryland's first black governor and just the third black governor to be elected in U.S. history. Wow. Wes Moore joins us now. Good morning to you and congratulations to you, Governor-to-be. Really good to see you, Wes Moore. So we were watching that night.
Good to see you.
No, we're very excited that you're here, Wes. So we were watching that night. I want you to take us in the moment. Where were you? How did you get the news that you were going to be the next governor of Maryland? And what did that feel like to you?
It was remarkable, and I remember we were in the war room where we had all these cameras and the team was around crunching numbers, and the polls closed at 8, and a little after the polls closed, we were watching some of these other results coming in, and then my campaign manager raised his finger and said, "Hold on," and he said, "We just got the word, we just won," and the room just erupted, and the thing that was really exciting was once the numbers started coming in was how we won. That we were winning in urban areas, rural areas, suburban areas. We just won across the state, Democrats, independents, and we took a huge swath of Republicans. And so it was exciting that the state spoke with a unified voice, that we were tired of being at each other's throats. We were tired about caring more about who came up with the idea than is it a good idea. And we were excited that this was going to be Maryland's moment to be bold and to go fast, but we were going to do it together. So it was a great
Talk about being bold, though, Wes. This is your first public office. This is your first public office. This seems aiming very high, and you want this job. Why?
Well, I want this job because we know that in order for us to really deal with the challenges that, frankly, I've been working on for my entire life. You know, I tell people I've been a public servant for much of my life. I led soldiers in combat with the 82nd Airborne Division. I started a successful small business helping first-generation students go to and through college. And I led one of the largest poverty-fighting organizations in America. But I know that if we aren't dealing with the systems that continue to allow people to fall between the cracks, we'll just find ourselves repeatedly cleaning up the debris that comes from broken systems. And so I've been a public servant for much of my life. I just haven't been a politician. So I know the approach that I plan on taking to these problems of working collaboratively, working across sectors, and working across political parties to actually accomplish big things. That's exactly the approach that I plan on taking as Maryland's next governor.
Well, Governor, no one elects a resume, but you've got quite a resume. Johns Hopkins University, Rhodes Scholar to Oxford, 82nd Airborne, a captain, a paratrooper, combat action in Afghanistan. What do you think it was about your... Well, actually, no, let me go into one of the issues that you just mentioned. Crime is on people's minds these days. At the very least, the perception of crime, not only in Maryland, but across the country, is really, really high right now. How are you going to tackle it?
I think we have to move with a level of urgency. And you know, I actually came off the campaign trail earlier this year because I spoke at the vigil of a 69-year-old grandmother who was a member of my church in East Baltimore and was working as a custodian in the church. And she was killed in the church bathroom, a 69-year-old grandmother. So this is real. And we are seeing this in our communities across the state. But the thing is, we need to have partnership from the state of Maryland, where a third of all people who are actually committing the violent crimes are in violation of parole and probation. So we know who they are, but we continue to allow violent offenders on the streets. That's something the state can work on. We have to address the fact that we've got these illegal guns that continue flooding into our communities. And so that means working with federal partners to ensure that we're getting and keeping these illegal guns out of our neighborhoods. But it's also about ensuring that our children actually have a pathway. You know, I first felt handcuffs on my wrists when I was 11 years old. And I think back to myself now that if someone would have told that 11-year-old kid that one day you're going to be the governor of this state or a governor of the state of Maryland, I wouldn't have believed it. We've got to make sure that our children can actually believe in a hope and in a promise that they might not see in front of them right now. And that means knowing that we are not going to arrest or militarize our way out of these challenges.
Well, Wes, you're making a lot of people believers, and please tell your lovely wife on her Instagram, it says proud wife of Maryland gubernatorial candidate. She has to change that. She has to change that. Wes Moore, congratulations to you and your family. I know this won't be our last conversation, and we'll be right back.